Just for technical reasons, I'm just going to go back and do the mitzvahs said this week, and I assume only this week, maybe next week also. But mitzvah for Arba B'Shivim, he שהוזהר me'avoda b'mikdash. Now, just a question of the Ksav Yad. The word b'mikdash doesn't appear in the Ksav Yad, in the Kisvei Yad, both of them that we have. In the Ram Mishnah Torah, it does say b'mikdash, and in Ibn Iyov, he says something else. I can't even make out what exactly it means. Aleph Reish Sadi, I don't know what it has to do with anything, but that's what it says. Okay. There's a law of avodah zar, and the question is, what is a zar? Ratzoni b'omer zar, call me שאינו מזרע אהרון. ואומר יסעלה וזר לא יקרב עליכם. So let's take one thing at a time. One thing we're going to have to discuss is whether it's here or not here. What is the issue of mikdash? The Rambam Mishnah Torah certainly says mikdash. What does mikdash have to do with the issue of zarus? And the secondly, what is the definition of zarus? And what does the Rambam call me she'enu mizera Aaron? And we'll take them one at a time. The Rambam in Mishnah Torah, they writes mikdash in Hilchos Bias HaMikdash, Perek Tes Halacha Aleph, Zar she'over b'mikdash avodas psula b'chai misadei shamayim shenema v'azar hakorov yumos b'pi hashmuel lomdu she'ein chiyuv zeh elo l'karev lavodah zar lo yikrav aleichem, and the kiruv is lavodah v'heichen hizir olav v'zar lo yikrav aleichem. The Rambam writes mikdash, and since the Rambam wrote mikdash, certainly Mishnah Torah, the Minchas Chinuch, the Mitzvah Shin Sadi or Aleph, assumes that the Ashor and the Chiyuv Misa of Avodas Hazar is only in mikdash, and therefore it comes to exclude Paradum. So even though the all Ma'aser Apollo is B'zichei Kuna, as you look at the Mishnah in Pora Perek Dalet, Mishnah Dalet, and it's not 100% clear there, but in the Ram Pirush Mishnah there quotes a Tosefta, and Tosefta is pretty clear, and Hilchos Paraduma Perek Dalet Halacha Zayin is also pretty clear. But the question is there a Chiyuv Zarus? And that's the Minchas Chinuch claims that since it's not mikdash, there's no Chiyuv Zarus. The definition of Zar, Kol Mi She'enu Zera Aaron. So, L'cheira, you see, here, you could have written it in two ways here. See, the Ram over here, when he writes to call me she'eno mizera Aaron, so technically a bas kohen is zera Aaron. So we're not sure over here how this plays itself out. But Mishnah Torah, The Rambam writes in Perek Tes Halacha Kol Zehuzhar Kol She'eino Mizrע Aaron HaZechorim Shenema v'yochu b'nei Aaron v'ktiu b'nei Aaron v'lo b'nei Aaron. There's a discussion about this in Sefer Derech Mitzvah Minchas Chinuch Shin Tzadi Ois Aleph. Ulam, however, Tesis in Kedushin, Lamavav and Aleph, the Maskal Kabos Vazos, assume that Noshim are not B'chlal Zar. Not like the Rambam Mishnah Torah. We don't know here in the Rambam, it's not clear at all. It says, Zein Kol Misheinu Zera. And therefore, Tesis says in Kedushin that we need a miyuchad, for B'nai Aaron. And my Rebbe, when we're learning Tesis Chul, that Beis of Aleph, we assume like that in Tesis Chul, Beis of Aleph, to be a Maskal Kol Shoich. Okay. Now, V'zah lo yikav aleichem. That's the pasuk. V'omer yis'aleh v'zah lo yikav aleichem. Ubei hakosuv she'oive alav zeh chai b'isei shamayim. V'hu omer yis'aleh v'zah akorav yumus. V'loshen sifri. Okay. Sifri in Kairach. Sifri in Kairach. Piska Kuf Tezayin. He basically goes like this. The Rambam is Makatze here, but Zah call of Yumos La'avoida. See here is something very interesting. The question is, what do you need a separate a limud that it's la'avoida? The avoida, okay? So if you learn, and this is very important, because you remember we had discussions in the other lavim that the Ramban says the lavim, all the lavim are basically the lav shesui yayin, and the question about mum, is there an isa of knisa ben mum mizbeach? The Rambam generally learns that the lavim are isui knisa, and the Ramban learns that kreim knisa laveda. So according to the Rambam, it's very good, this limud, because basically you would have said that kiruv is Knisa. And Kamash Malon, you have a separate limud that the lav is lavoida, which is very good. And we understand then why Shisui Yain and Balmum B'chule, where there's no separate limud, that it basically is an Isa Knisa. But here, where there is a separate limud, it's an Isa Avodah. That's very good. Now, next, it continues. Oynesh Shamanu Ashor Loi Shaman. This is very interesting. The question is it real, and is it serious? Dahainu, that since there's an oynesh, we know therefore there's an azhor. So the question is, meichetese, is every time there's an oynesh, there's necessary an azhor? So the truth is, from the Rambam's perspective, and we remember from Shirish Yudalit, that the only time that an oynish necessarily means an ashora is only misas bezdin and colors. But here, when the oynish is misas shemayim, we don't necessarily know anything. So you can the two approaches, and we have to probably go through all the cases of only shamanu ashor lo binayin or ashor lo shamanu. But you could say that it's lav dafko, or there's another approach over here, which is very interesting. See, the emes is that there's a machlokas tanoim where the zar is chayiv misa b'dei odom or misa b'dei shamayim. The Gemara Sanhedrin, Pei Daled Aleph, zar sheshimesh b'mikdash, Tanya Rabbi Yishmael oimer, nema kan v'azor kol yumos, v'nema lahalim kol hakol v'akol v'el mishkan Hashem yomos, ma lahalim b'dei shamayim, af kan b'dei shamayim. So that's okay, that's what we pass. Rabbi Akiva oimer, nema kan v'azor kol yumos. V'nema lahalon, v'anoviahu, ocholim acholim al yumos, which is Mrs. Bezdin, malahalim beskilo, afkan beskilo. Rabbi Yechomenu yom malahalim bechenek, afkan bechenek. So here you have the option. You can say the Tan of the Sifri is of the opinion that Zar is chayiv misa b'dei Bezdin, Mrs. Bezdin. And since Mrs. Bezdin is only shamanu as hominai, whatever it's worth, whatever it is, there is we have anyway an ashola, no matter how you cut it, and even if you pass it, it's not so. Okay, now it goes like this. Tamuloima v'zar lo yikav aleichem. Ukvar nichbol azhoro v'oidish b'zeo inyan. It means there's kefo l'chomo inyan. And v'omroi v'lo yikavu oid b'nei Yisrael el ole moed. That's the way it is in the Kisvei Yad. In Ibn Tibbon, the Alomoy is not there. I don't know. Allah says, Chet Lomus. Now, just want to add something. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, just about this issue of when we talk about avoid, I want to show you something you might not have noticed, Rashi Chumash and others. The Gemara in Sanhedrin clearly works with the Sifri or like the Sifri, and in Pei Gimel and Aleph, that Zal Yikav Aleichem is an Isa Avoida. But Rashi and Chumash in Parshas Korach, in Yud Zayin Yud Chof Ches, they were masul kol hakorev hakorev. So Rashi says like this: Ein onu yecholin liyoi sihirim bekach. We walk one step the wrong way, it's all over. Kulanu rashoyim likones lachatzar olam moyed. V'echad shiyakev atzmoi yoyse mechaveiro v'ikones l'teich oil moyed yomus. So l'cheira, it's very clear that the Isa is an Isa Knisa Le'echol. And that's Rashi Chumash. And the piyut of Afsadi going is also mashma like that, because he says, V'zar bal yikrov hecholov.
I found it.
However, that's in the piyut of Afsadi going. But the Sefer Mitzvah Sadi Goins Mufush that the Isa Isa Avodah in Perek Yutes Amud, page 182, V'yachad es v'yiched es o Isa le'ela she'enam b'nei Aaron lahakriv korbanos ala mizbeach. Talking about avodah. Hu amrei lohem v'zar lo yikav aleichem. That's very clear. See, avodah. The Bahag is also like that, and the Sefer Chayfetz is also like that. That the Isa and Isa avodah. The interesting thing is Rashi and Chumash and the Peter of Sadigur. But that also, if you're not working again, that's the approach. If you don't have a drasha or a makor to tell you that the Isa and Avodah, Yikrav, you learn that it's Isa Kanisa. Okay. V'omrei Yis'ala the second, the Kefa, lo yikavu oid b'nei Yisrael, el oil moed. I told you about the problem begis in this. Lo seis chet lomus. Lo seis chet lomus misle shamayim. Ukfa yizboye b'gmo yumo, chavdalid omid alif, for avoide she's chayv aleim azar misa. V'yomu arba avoide zah chayv aleim misa. V'elu hein zrika, v'aktoro, v'nisach hayayin, v'nisach hamayim. Zrika, aktoro, v'nisach hayayin, v'nisach hamayim. It's called the avodah tamil, the way it's referred to in the Gemara. The end of avodah. Over mokem ahu, over perek achroim in Meseches Vochim, is baru mishpatei mitzvah. Say that. So that's the law of Zarus, which the law of avodah, at least according to the Pirush of the Matik Yeshmu. Now, there's an Isa of Tomei. HaMitzvah HaChomesh B'Shivim Hu Shehizir Kol Koyin Tomei Min HaAvodah V'u Amra Yis'ale LaKohanim V'inozru Mikotche B'nei Yisrael V'lo Yichalu Eshem Kotche. Talking about Kohanim Tmeim, they should be careful and stay away from Kotche B'nei Yisrael, and they won't be Machal L'Shem Kotche. Over Perek Chi Misanhedrin Omu Minayin L'Tomish Shiri Shu B'Misa Tichsiv Daber El Aaron V'El Bono V'Nozu V'Kotche B'nei Yisrael V'Lo Yichalu. This is an amazing thing. It's very clear in the Gemara, this lo yechalu is going on Tomei, Shishimesh. But the question is, the Chiyuv Misei Shamayim, and that's Gzeir Shava, V'Omer Mokom Acher, U'Meisu Bo Ki Yechalu. U'Kmo She'achilu Hahu Misa B'nei Shamayim, the Chil that's mentioned b'Mokom Acher, to see about, is Misvei Shemayim, Cain, Heino, Omu V'leichal L'Shem Kodshi, Im Chiloi V'Avdo Betumo, Chayom Misvei Shemayim. Okay. So it's an amazing thing. What happens over here is there's a Gzera Shava, but really I assume it's a Pirush Makubal. I'm quoting it over here and discussing it in the HaMitzvos. Not sure if you can have a Chibis and Shamayim, which is only a drasha, but I assume the Ram is a Pirush Makubal, and this Gzera Shava, Chilu Chilu, is only a Remes. But the emes is that there's a Pirush Makubal from Moshe Rabbeinu. It is Chai Misle Shamayim. And the amazing thing here, and that's what I really like to talk about, and it's a very confusing thing, is another lav here. And that's HaMitzvos sheish b'shivim. He shehize akoyin tful yoim min ha'avoda. There's an isa tful yoim. Af al pi shetiher ad sheyariv shimsha. It means there's a lav of a tful yoim that went to the mikvah until Sarachov ad sheyariv shimsha. V'amrei b'kohanim v'lo yichalu shem Eloheim. And it's a different pasuk and a different chilul. There it's going. That's going on Tful Yom. It's a separate lav for Tful Yom. But over lav zeh, chayiv misa b'nei shamayim. What's a loima? Tful Yom sheshimesh if he's ovid in mikdash. V'zelo bo kosu mavur b'teira. V'hu pirush makubal. It's not. There's no pasuk mufurish in the Torah the chibis and shamayim of Amnetzfesh of Tful Yoim, but it's a pirush makubal. But tish b'shahedrin omu b'ferish omu yis'al kadoshim yiyu Eloheim v'lo yichalu shem Eloheim omu meino inyan l'tomei ba'avoda shkpais bo to inyan l'Tful Yoim sheshimesh. V'yalav chilu chilu. And it's also Misvei Shemayim. But the chiddush is that the etzem as'ola is learned out in Meino Inyan, and we only know from Meino Inyan that there's a lav. So I guess therefore it has to be Pirush Makubal. We'll see more. Umanu Oisai Shom Michal Mechui Misa. And the Bryce and Sanhedrin that the Chiyuv Misa Neshamayim. Here, there are, it's an amazing thing over here, but I just want to discuss, set it up before we talk about it, that that there's two lavim over here, one lav for Tomei and one lav for Tful. So let's just introduce the Indian and we'll see what's going on. There are three isurim or lavim aschoris by Kodesh that are formulated by Tome in the Torah. There's three issues. There's a there's the issue of Tome in Beis Mikdash. There's an issue of Tome Lagabe Achilas Kochim, and there's an issue of Tome Lagabe Avodah. We'll see exactly how all this plays itself out. Beis Mikdash, there's one lav in the Torah. It's Lois Ayin Zayin. And it's Mavua that both Tomei and Tful Yoim are B'chlal this Hashara. There's no separate Hashara for Tful Yoim. Tomei and Tful Yoim are one Hashara, and they're both Chayiv Koros. And this you see also in Hilchos Beis Mikdash, in Perek Gimel, Halacha Yud Gimel and Yud Daled. The Ram goes like this. Ezeu atome shechayev kores ala mikdosh kol shenitnu betum merameis shanoz megale cholel shvanis bosh meziris o shenit b'shavu satu b'shaltera is ba makoimon. Okay, beseder, whatever. That l'chayra is not negeya. But the important part is over here, Kol Shel Dovo, Kol Aton Bias Mayim Min HaTeira, Chayiv Koros Al Bias Mikdash. Va'afilu Ache Shetoval Ad She'av Shimshon. So it's Mefush in Rambam that not only the Tomei is Chayiv Koros on Bias Mikdash, but even the Tful Yom. But Mechusah Kippurim, in Rambam, it's not even a lav lukos alov, because the Ram says in the Ram says in Hilchos Beis Mikdash Perek Gimel Lochates, Avol Tomei Meis. Or Tful Yoim shenichnas as is noshim. Very careful. Tful Yoim shenichnas as is noshim. Oy mechusah kippurim shenichnas leezras Yisrael tilazoro. Afa pi she'ino loike. Makin oisei makis madus. We don't know drabonon draisa. We don't know anything. But there's no malchus and there's makis madus, and that's mechusah kippurim. So the law of Tomei in Beis HaMikdash includes Tful Yoim, for Malchus and Kores. It doesn't include Mechusah Kippurim for Malchus and Kores. And that's what we have. That is Beis Mikdash. Now, Achilas Kochim B'Tumah. Achilas Kochim B'Tumah is like this. There's a chi of kores and a lav by a tomei, but a tful yoim and a tful yoim, there's a lav without kores. So again, lagabe achilas kochim betuma, there's a chi of kores and a lav by tomei, and by tful yoim, there is a lav without kores. And in Mechusah Kippurim, there's not even a lav. The Rambam in Hilcha is Psul Mukdoshim. Perek Yudches Halacha Yigimel Yudalet. Kol Adam Shenitmo, Tuma Shechem Olav Kores, Al Bias Mikdosh, V'ochal Kizayis Min HaKodshim, Bein B'kodesh Torah, Bein B'kodesh Tomei, B'meizen Aris in the Sky of Kosh, and Emel Never Shetochal, B'zevach HaShlomim, Asher Hashem, B'tumas Olav, V'nichasa, B'tumas Olav, V'echen Hizar Avoin Zeh, B'yoledes, Sh'arei Nema Bo, B'chol Kodesh Lo Yisiga. Let's talk about V'pi HaShmuel Omdu, Shezu Azhora, L'tomei, Sh'lo Yochal Kodesh, Koidem Sheyitbo. However, V'ochel Kodesh Achar Shetoval, Koidem Sheyariv Shimshoi, Koidem Sheyovo Kaparosoi, Loike, Ve'eno Chayiv Kores, Shenema, V'tumasa Olav Achie Kol Tumasa Olav. So we have to know here, what does it mean? What does it mean over here where he says, but that's not our Indian now. V'oichel kodesh achar shetova kodem she'ev shimshoi, kodem she'yovi kaparosoi. You need both, or it's either and Tfuyoim and Mechus Kippurim the same, the Chayiv Malkus and not Loike, we have to know. But he says, V'oichel kodesh achar shetova kodem she'ev shimshoi, kodem she'yovi kaparosoi Loike. Ve'eno chayiv kodesh never v'tumasa olav ad shetekol tumasa olav. So it means there shouldn't be a tefillah or mechus or kodem she'yovi kaparosoi. L'cheira, because you have to say something like that, because l'cheira everyone is toval, anyone who's maybe kaparosoi has to be achat tefillah. Because if you want to, you can't be maybe mechus kippurim. So l'cheira it means that even mechus kippurim is chayiv malchus in achilas kosher. It's interesting. So in Bias Mikdash, there's no malchus for mechus kippurim, but there is a chiyuv kores and malchus for tfuyoim and tomeh. For achilas kosher, the chiyuv kores is only for tomeh, but at tfuyoim and mechus kippurim is malchus without kores. Now, that's what we have here. However, when it comes to avodah, there's two separate lavim. Lavodah. Lavodah is kohen tomei. One is a poshta kohen tomei, and the other is kohen tfuyoim. And here, since we have to know what's going on with mechus kippurim. So we're going to have two issues basically that we'll have to, bang our heads about. One is, why are there two lavim? And the other is, what is the status of mechus kippurim? And let's just see the Rambam in Bias HaMikdash, in Perek Dalet, Halacha Aleph, Halacha Dalet and Hey. Tomei she'ovad b'mikdash chil avoidasei. V'chayiv misa b'nei shamayim. Al avoidosai. So the Tomei is chayiv misa. Afal pi, it's always the Tomei she'avad is alav and it's chi misa shamayim. Afal pi shaloi shah shom shenem v'yozu b'nei mikotchi b'nei Yisrael v'lichalu es shem kotchi harizeh ashora le'oivei betumo u'lahau no'imei u'meisbo ki yichlu machilu omo shom chayiv b'nei shamayim afkan misbnei shabbat. Next, I'm skipping a little bit. V'chein tomei shetoval v'ovad koidim sharav shimshoi avodas psula v'chai misa shemayim shneim v'lichalu es shem Eloheim v'yesh mu'lamdu zehuzhar l'tful yoim she'ovad she'adayin tomehu שנאמר בו השמש וטועה מכלל שעדיין לא תהיה. So it means there's a chiyuv lav and a chiyuv misei shamayim, both in koyin tomei and koyin tful yoim. Our mechusa kippurim she'ovad Alpha P Shavodos Psulo V'chilil, how is it potter? See here, we have to be a very important issue. We have to understand what it means, how is it potter? So it means there's a separate lav for Tomei, a separate lav for Tful Yoim, and a separate Chiv Misa Shemayim for Tomei, and a Chiv Misa Shemayim for Tful Yoim. But Mechusaki Purim is potter. ומנין שעבודת הפסולה שניהם וחיפו להקרים וטהרה בכלל שעדיין לינק בטהרה עושה והוא הדין לכל מחוסק כיפור. Okay, good. So this now let's start a little bit with מחוסק כיפורים, and then we'll go back with what's going on with Tful Yoim. We'll see. It's but at least let's try it. Okay. The question that you have to ask yourself in Hilchos Sanhedrin, in Perek Yutes, Halacha Beis, Kol Mechuyovin Misa B'nei Shamayim, Shehein B'lo Yisaseh, V'yesh Mehen Ma'aseh Shelo Yikan Aleim, Shmona Asa. Okay, V'elu Hein. So I'm going to start from Yud Gimel. It's the question of a lav with a chi Misa Shamayim. Yud Gimel. Koyin Tomei Shishimesh. Yud Dalet is not important for us at the moment. Shosu Yayin Shishimesh. Okay. Shosu Yayin Shishimesh. Okay, but the next two are very important. Tful Yoim Shishimesh, so it means there's a lav and a chimis shemaim. So until this point, Hezvav Tful Yoim Shishimesh, we know exactly what we knew in Hilchos Bias HaMikdash. Comes Tezayin and he says Mechusa Kippurim Shishimesh. So this l'chayri is mamish impossible. He just said in Hilchos Bias HaMikdash that it's potter. And here in Hilchos Sanhedrin, he says that it's it's like it's b'chlal halav and shaloik and alav b'chaim b'yisli shemayim. It can't be both. So the chayitz mufurish is stira. So, the Ibn Ozel tries to make some type of sense out of this. He tries to say, he says like this, that there's a lav, the Ram holds the lav b'chusa kippurim, but there's no chiyuv miseh shamayim. And why is it no chiyuv miseh shamayim in b'chusa kippurim? Because the limud of Mesa Bo Yichalu I was going to tell you about, Ki Yichalu, is a limud from Truma. And Lagabe Truma, only a Tful Yoim is Tomei. But Mechusar Kippurim is Tall. And Mechusar Kippurim was only said Lagabe Kodesh. So since the limud of Chiyuv miseh shamayim is only by a Tomei of Lagabe Truma, so in Kodesh, there's no Chiyuv miseh shamayim unless you have a Tomei Lagabe Truma. So it's only a Tful Yoim and not Mechusar Kippurim. And he says that the Rambam, and he has other examples, the Rambam says that it's a Chiyuv miseh shamayim because the lav is Mechayim miseh shamayim, even though in this particular case, the Mechusar Kippurim is not Mechayim miseh shamayim. And he says that the word potter in Hilchos Bias HaMikdash by Mechusar Kippurim is talking in Misnei Shamayim. Because the Rambam over there starts off Tomei She'ava B'Mikdash Shechil Avodosa V'Chai Misnei Shamayim Al Avodosa. So in that, the Mechusar Kippurim is potter. Okay. So, if it's true, it's brilliant, Okay. But say that. So, that's only half of the problem. What is the status of Mechusar Kippurim? It's very interesting, Mechusar Kippurim and now Tomei and Tful Yoim. So I thought, seeing the contrast, you might find it's confusing. In what was published in Shiur of David, he claims that Mechusar Kippurim is b'chol lav of Tomei Sheshimesh, not the lav of Tful Yoim. And the Ibn Ozel takes the approach that Mechusar Kippurim is b'chlal the lav of Tful Yoim. This is really irrelevant for us because Maaseh is the only two lav, not three lav. We have to understand what's going on. But, where to place Mechusar Kippurim, okay. It's not negate to me in HaMitzvos. So now, here comes the very important question. And the question is, why are there two separate lavim? A lav from Tomei, a lav of Tful Yoim. You see yourself that by Bias Mikdash Kodashov, there are no two separate lavim, and Tful Yoim can be in the lav of Tomei. So, what do you need this for? And maybe, why do you assume that the Torah has a new lav for Tful Yoim? It's only lahashlim adin, as the Ram says in Cherish Chi, that if there's a K for lahashlim din, so we say that it's all one lav. So why does the Ram conclude they're two separate lav? So Abdovid says in the Shiur Mitzvachim, on Yud Zayin, Omen Aleph, he says like this. He says that since it says in Zvachim Yud Zayin Aleph, Chuyoim, Minayin, the Sepelim, for Absimoi, the sign of Absimoi Oimer, Remez and Chuyoim, Shimovat Chilo, Minayin, Tamuloima, Kedoshim Yiyu, Molo Yechalu. Imenu Inyan, the Tome, the Nofik Midir Azul, Teneim, the Tfuyoim. Okay. This is all very nice, but the Imenu Inyan in discussion of Absimoi, there's about Psul. So what he's trying to say is if it's of Simoi, the lav is a lav of Chilo. But Mishnah Torah, the Ram is saying the Asholot Fuyoim is because of Tumah. Because he says, the Ram says, not Mishum Chilo, because the Ram in Beis HaMikdash, Perek Dalid, Alocha Dalid, the Ram says like this. B'chein, Tomei shetoval v'ovad kodim she'av shimsha v'lis l'psula v'chayim yisrael shemayim shenem v'lichalu shem Eloheim mipi Shmuel lomdu shezu ashol tfuyoim she'ovad shadayim tomei hu shenem v'lo hashemesh v'toa mechlal shadayim l'tov. So l'cheira the Ram is saying that it's b'teres tomei, it's not b'teres the chiluk. And if it's B'teres Tomei, it's a lot more difficult. Why should we separate lav? So let it be whole one Inyan and a kefil hashlim at the Esa Inyan. So there's another approach, and this is the Eben Ozel. We'll start with reading Rambam in Hilchos Beis HaMikdash Perek Tes Aloch Yirau. Kain Tfuyoim Mechus Kippurim Shenitma V'Harei Hu Mechus Begodim Shelo Rotz Yadayim V'Aglayim V'Ovad Chayiv Al Kol Echad V'Echad. So it means the Chiyuv Kain Tfuyoim, a Chiyuv of Mechus Kippurim, and a chiyuv of Tomei, besides the chiyuv mechusim begodim and shalachos v'adaglayim layim. V'im hoyizar eino loik elach. But if he's not a zar, he's loik al kol echad v'echad. Chayev al kol echad v'echad. So the Rebbe disagrees, and the Rebbe says against Mefush Tisefta. Comes the Eben Ozel with all his imagination. It says, Mistamo, Ram had a different gears than the Tesefta. So I'll read to you the Tesefta, and I'll read to you his suggestion, the Ram's gears. Tesefta is in Perek Yud Beis in Zvachim, and I give you the number because, it depends upon whether you're working with Sukkah or the other, or was Vilna, different numbers. The Sukkah is Tesvav. I think in Vilna it's maybe Bob Zion, something like that. Kain Shovad, Tomei, Tfuyoim Mechuse Begodim, Umechuse Kippurim, Ushlo Rochos Yodayim Vaglayim. So there it says, Chayiv Achas. So comes the Eben Ozel says, I checked out the kiss v'yad, there's only tzukamanda, there's no kiss, there's no geniz, nothing, we don't have anything. So comes the Eben Ozel and says, Mistama the Ram's gis and Tesefta was Ushloch Yadayim V'Aglayim, and he takes out. See, in our Tesefta it reads Shloch Yadayim and all of them ain't chayiv ela achas, ain't chayiv ela achas, and comes The Eben also suggests that Ham's Gisa is Chayiv al kol achas v'achas. No. So if you're ready to accept this, so David was trying, to try to make up a Sefer for thing, but the truth is, if the Sefer is Mefush and Ram, it's very odd to assume the Ram should call it the Lashon Sefer and say the opposite. So the answer to the question is very simple then. Since there are separate Malchios, but Tomei and Balmum, but Tomei, excuse me, Tomei and Tful Yoim, Tomei and Tful Yoim. So the Ram says, we remember from Shurish Shi that Ram remember from Shurish Shi that if the separate Malchios, there are separate Lavim. That's the Ram says. That if it's that's the Ram says it shows Shi that if there are separate Malchios, whenever the Matiki Ashmur says it's separate Malchus or something, it's a Rayadoch that is the two separate Lavim. Because if it's only Kefil Alav, you get one Malchus. So Mamela, we know from this Tesefta, if you accept this the Girsa, there's so there must be Lavim Nifrodim, because there couldn't have been two Malchus without Lavim Nifrodim. Okay? And that's also Shurish Shvi. Actually, Shurish Chi. Because Minyan Lavim is like Minyan and Malchios. So it's beautiful if it's true. If I had been the Rambam, I would have quoted this over here. They said there's a Rayadoch, that it's a separate Lav. Because we don't know why it's a separate Lav, except the fact that separate Malchios. And the idea of Simulai, I'm not sure, how strong it is. So now we can finish this off. So the question is, what about Mechusar Kippurim? This is like a separate law from Mechusar Kippurim. This is a separate Malchus Mechusar Kippurim. So we separate law. So if this is the Makor, we don't understand what's going on. We don't understand anyway how there can be a separate law. The Ram Bis HaMikdash for Mechusar Kippurim. We know in Hilchos Sanhedrin that there's a lav, but as we pointed out, either you accept the Eben Ozel that it's in the lav of Tful Yoim, or you accept Abdav, it's a lav of Tomei. But L'cheira, if you do Tomei and Tful Yoim, or Tful Yoim Mechusar Kippurim, according to Eben Ozel, L'cheira should be only one Malchus. And the Rambam Bis Mikdash in Perek Tes Halacha Yud Aleph says you get a separate Malchus for Tomei, a separate Malchus at Tful Yoim, and a separate Malchus at Mechusar Kippurim. So the answer is very simple. That which the Rambam says, in Shurish Chi, that separate Malchios make separate Lavim, that's only if there are separate Lavim, or if the item which is also is mentioned in the pasuk. where it says, so with a separate malchus each one. So in Mela, we know 3 separate lavim. But if nothing is mentioned in the pasuk about Tful Yoim, see, you have a limud, the lav is talking about Tful Yoim. And you have a limud, the other lav is talking about Tomei. So Mamela, Tomei and Tful Yoim, and the 2 separate malchus, Matik Shmua, so they're 2 separate lav. But Mechus Kippurim, there's no pasuk. It's only limud that only we know that Mechus Kippurim is either under the lav of Tomei or the lav of Tful Yoim. And there's no way in the world, from the fact that there's many malchus, to make it into a separate lav. It's not worse than Chomesh Peyos, that Yechayev malchus kolachas v'achas. But it's boro that it's only one lav. Because there's only one lav in the Torah. So who adin Mechus Kippurim? There's no separate lav. So l'chayra, it's only a malchus of it's only a malchus of guf mechulakim or whatever you want. The Maisa that the 2 Eben Ozels. There's one in Beis Hamikdash, Perek Dalet, I think Halacha Aleph, and the other one is in Perek Tes Halacha Yud Aleph, with this very odd according to Sefer, that there's 3 separate lav, three separate malchus. This is what we have here. Okay, I suggest that we call it Mit Hashem. We'll pick up next week. I'll see whether I'll continue this Blineda or go back to do Avos Hager and Midas Mishkolos. Mit Hashem, have a wonderful week. Tzloch.